try this again. Hi, my name's Dralnah. We're going to be playing Doom today. This is episode 1, map 1, E1-M1. Everybody knows it by that name, and it's fun. It's only about 13 seconds, though, so by the time I finish saying this, it's probably going to be close to over. Like that. That being said, welcome to Doom. We're playing on the easiest difficulty, also called I'm Too Young to Die. Mostly because, as it turns out, shooting things on a flip phone is kind of hard. Playing a shooter on a flip phone is very difficult because I don't have any means of accurately controlling where I'm aiming. So, due to that, we're going to be playing on the easiest difficulty, and we're going to be shooting as few things as possible. Not as a challenge, just out of necessity. Apparently we need to shoot this guy, though. Normally I do pretty well with this. That was already pretty bad. I lost like 3 or 4 seconds of that. That being said, this is, like I said, it's an any percent run. It's not a typical category that you would be speedrunning Doom in. Typically people speedrun on like Ultraviolence, which is the 4th out of 5 difficulty levels. But we're a little too baby for that, so we're just going to do this. Primary movement mechanics in the game are, we're just going to be walking sideways. There's a mechanic that everybody calls SR40, strafe run 40. Basically, if you move sideways and also move forward at the same time, bye to that guy. If you move forward and sideways at the same time, you move faster, because that's just how the movement engine works. Like I said, though, one of the primary difficulties of doing this run on a flip phone is the lack of any sort of accurate aiming input. Movement's actually not that bad if you can stomach it. It just takes a little bit of getting used to more than anything. We're going to try this jump, and we make it. So in the original Doom, there are no jumps. It's just called moving very fast over gaps. It's actually quite difficult. So I had to do what's called an SR50 there, not an SR40, where I'm actually hitting some additional inputs. And because I only have 2 thumbs and need to hit a bunch of buttons, I'm just fat-fingering a bunch of inputs and hoping that it works. Anyway, we're on to E1-M5. E1-M5 is a little more involved, but overall it's not that complicated of a level. E1-M6 is where things start to get kind of interesting, because we're going to have a trick at the beginning of the level that's going to save us hopefully about 20-something seconds if we do it right. If we do it wrong, we're losing over 30. But yeah, right here, we're just going to be running through a bunch of stuff. Coming up, we're going to have something called a wall run, where hopefully... Nope, I messed it up. If you walk into certain walls at the right angle, diagonally, they will shoot you extremely fast across the map. But we didn't get it, so it's not a big deal. Now, you'll notice a lot of these are mostly just me running through the level and trying to not shoot things as much. To be fair, that's most runs, but in Doom in particular, it's mostly just because it's a, well, every level's kind of a maze, right? So it's just kind of memorize the maze, shoot the couple enemies you gotta shoot, and grab the keys, and you're good. Now, we're gonna be trying to do this trick here, so I'm gonna get quiet for a moment. And it worked. So we just saved about 20-something seconds there. Basically what's happening there is that door shuts. I didn't grab the red key again. Wow. Thing that happens twice in the same day. How did I miss? I need to, like, pay attention to if I grab that, I guess. Ow. Anyway, basically, now we're losing time again. So there's that. Effectively what happens there is that whenever a door tries to shut, if there's an entity stuck in the doorway, the door just won't shut, right? It won't crush them or anything, it'll just not shut. So, we're getting that enemy stuck in the doorway, that way that door doesn't shut, because if that door shuts, it's stuck for 30 seconds and there's no way around it. You're just stuck in that room for 30 seconds. Which is unfortunate. So we try and skip it, and I also messed up and, you know, lost all that time back, but that's okay. I got the trick, and I got to show you guys the fun thing, and that's what matters. We're coming up on the end of E1-M6. We're going to go into E1-M7. This level, E1-M7 is more just making sure you've got routing right. There is a jump or two that we've got to do, but nothing crazy. And we're just going to swerve everything in that room as it comes flying at us and get into the next level. All right, E1-M7. There's a lot going on here. I'm not going to have time to explain everything, but effectively, it's the same as any other level, right? Grab the keys, run over to the exit, and hope that you can make it just fine. Now, this level involves a lot more running around because there's not really good ways to skip any of the keys. And also, there's a Spectre, which is an invisible one of those monsters you saw earlier that's called a Pinky, the big thing that was running around. Pinkies are annoying. Specters are doubly annoying because you can't really see them until you get up close. We're just going to shoot that imp because he was on my he got on my nerves today. And this is a Pinky, which I haven't explained yet. But Specters are basically just those but invisible. You can kind of see them, but not really. Something else that's come up, and you may have noticed it if you were looking closely, is that Doom enemies, the enemies are infinitely tall in Doom. This is going to be relevant in a level in episode 3. It'll come up later, and we didn't get the Spectre stuck in the room with us, so we're good. That's not good, though. As you can see, both aiming is hard, and also shotgun takes a minute to reload, so if you need to shoot multiple things in a row, you're kind of in a weird position in this game. At least when you're playing on a phone. Because I can't just swap out for another weapon, right? We have to watch the reload animation. Anyway, we're coming up on E1-M8. This is the end of the run. We're going to be trying two big tricks here. You're going to see another wall run. We're going to ignore all these pinkies. You're going to see a wall run here. Didn't quite get it. I got a little bit of it. You might have seen me running a little bit faster initially. And we're just going to kill these two guys. These are Barons of Hell. And we're going to run over here as the walls drop. And we're going to attempt to do a wall run on this wall diagonally. And launch ourselves over here. And we got it. I'm pretty happy about that. I also ran out of rockets, so that's okay. So that's episode 1 done. Episode 2 is a little bit more involved. It's the most difficult of the 3 runs I'm going to be doing, in my opinion. The beginning is pretty easy up through, I'd say, episode 6, and then it gets really convoluted and difficult. So this is, or did I say episode 6? I meant map 6, excuse me. The beginning is very easy up through about map 6, and then it gets hard. So this is map 1. Map 1 is pretty typical, what you would expect out of like a beginner Doom map, or really any Doom map. It's a maze with some teleporters and some buttons, and we have the map layout memorized, so we're just mostly going to be shooting these guys and trying to keep them out of our way. This Pinky likes to be mean, however, and sometimes block us, so typically you would try and shoot him. However, I can't turn around fast enough to do that. They're also really mean, and they put an imp in the finish room, in the like the map complete room, which is annoying. We're gonna swerve this Pinky. This is containment area. This level is extremely fast because we're gonna do something unintended. Remember how I said enemies don't have like they're infinitely tall vertically? Turns out we can just hit buttons from like way below where we should anyway. That button is over there on that wall, and we're just gonna not deal with that. So this is map 3. Map 3 is not terribly difficult. It's mostly just a case of making sure that you... I am going to kill this Pinky. I don't need to, but I'm going to. Because he gets on my nerves. Episode 2 is the episode where there's just a lot of Pinkies getting in your way. They're very good at blocking hallways and running back and forth really quickly and just generally being annoying to get around, while also dealing a lot of damage to you. AKA the worst kind of enemy possible in a speedrun. Very scary to deal with and also difficult to avoid. We're just going to swerve those Pinkies and hop on over to the exit level. This is Deimos Lab. This is the last of the easy levels. It's not too bad for the most part. We're going to be doing pretty much exactly the intended level layout, kind of. We're going to be going through a teleporter here. Again, Pinky causes problems. Episode 2 is just the Pinky causes problems episode. We're going to be moving over here. We've got a blue key card. We're going to grab the yellow key card from underneath this crusher and get out before it crushes us, hopefully. And we're going to go around here after opening up the yellow key door. We're going to go down here into a secret area, grab some more ammo for our plasma gun that we've picked up. Swerve this cacodemon. Go so fast that we miss the teleporter trigger. That's a thing you can do, by the way. Try to stay on this platform and shoot these two imps that are in here. We're a little low on plasma gun ammo, which is a little unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. This is E1-E3. This level's also not terrible. There's a couple little bits that you gotta watch out for, like all the pinkies in these short hallways here. We're using a lot of the secret access through this level. We're gonna be using a lot of the... It's not necessarily secrets, but there's a lot of like twisty paths through this level. It's a big maze. It's also a good spot to grab a bunch of extra health, which gets us ready for the next few levels. Okay, so we didn't... I don't know what we got hit by there. That pinky felt like it dealt a lot more damage than it should have. And we're already coming up on the end of this level. We just kind of skip a lot of the enemies. To be fair, we're on an easy difficulty, so there's just less enemies than normal. Grab that extra health to make sure we're up to par, because I got hit way after I should have on that. We're going to grab this rocket launcher. This is E2-M6. Ow. This is E2-M6. We're going to grab some extra ammo here. I missed that health kit, but it doesn't matter. We're going to grab this Berserk up here. We grab this Berserk, it brings us up to full health, and we're going to run around here and hit this switch. This switch will open up something over here that we can go to. We're going to pull out our shotgun again and get ready. We're going to fire and miss. Then we're going to kill that guy. We're going to kill all the enemies in this room, because technically you can do this without killing all the enemies. However, I don't trust it to work, because this is a very RNG heavy trick. This is E2-M6. This is what's called a Void Glide. It's the term that they use for out of bounds in this game. We are going to be walking into this wall at a weird angle and aiming right about here until the game decides to let us through. This may be a couple minutes, depending. Basically, the way that this works is that these walls are very buggy. So remember what I told you about wall running earlier? Where, like, if you go between certain walls, yep, you see that? So when you run on certain walls in Doom at a certain angle, you get a massive speed boost. It turns out both of these walls are viable for that massive speed boost, and you can go so fast that you end up going through the entirety of the map, pretty much. All right, we've got our mouse here. We're going to be doing a trick that is pretty much sub-pixel precision, if I recall correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off auto run, and we're going to use vertical mouse movement on this mouse and attempt to hit this very, very tiny gap. May take me a minute or two. There we go. I'll take that. That was pretty quick. All right, welcome to E2-M7. I have to do a custom route for this level because, frankly, doing the actual route for this, or the trick, is almost impossible. So I've got some time to explain this, I suppose. E2-M7 has a trick that you do in most Doom Episode 2 speedruns, which is called a rocket boost. Basically, when you deal damage to yourself, whenever you're dealt damage in Doom, you basically get like a speed boost slightly based on the amount of damage you took. However, because we're playing on the easiest difficulty, that speed boost is a lot harder to get right because the rockets are actually like... I didn't pick up the rocket launcher. I was gonna say, I thought I picked up a rocket launcher. I've never had this cacodemon show up. Go away. That's not very good. I've botched this a little bit, but it's okay. We can recover it. So, effectively, there's a trick you can do here with a rocket boost where you can actually just skip most of the level and beat it in like 15 seconds. We can't do that. Move. We can't do that because there's just no way that I can really pull that off reasonably on a cell phone. I just do not have the button capabilities to be able to do that. This is going horribly, but we're gonna keep going. The alternate route for this level is also too difficult for me because I kept dying to all the imps in this room because I can't move fast enough to actually avoid a lot of them. So we're going to sit in the corner here and just shoot imps for a little bit because why not? Because there's a lot of imps in this section and they start causing problems like these guys. So we're just going to try and swerve as many as possible, kill as many imps as possible, and then get out of here, hopefully in a very short amount of time. And here's the exit. I'll take that. Okay, this is E1-E3. This is a very difficult fight. This is a fight against a cyber demon. This cyber demon is extremely chunky, and we don't have a ton of ammo to beat him with. Plus, I can't circle strafe, so I can't reliably get close to him. So we're going to be playing dodgeball with rockets for a little bit here. Did not kill, that's okay. We've got a bunch of extra rockets that they give us. However, this is going to be extremely slow. Wow, okay, I didn't hit him at all. We're going to play safe here and go into this room and get this extra health. Where are you going, bud? Unfortunately, I kind of have to play casually here because there's not really a good way for me to circle strafe and beat this without risking losing the run. Nope, leave. Don't get caught on the pillar, leave. There we go. Alright, that was about what I would expect out of a run, frankly, for Episode 2. Episode 2 is the hardest one, though, so we're pretty much out of the worst of it now. We're going to move on to Episode 3. Episode 3 runs are pretty easy. Shouldn't cause me too many issues. There's like one or two tricks that I'm a little worried about, but that's okay. We'll figure them out. Aside from that, there's not really anything crazy going on, and I'll try and explain as we're going here. So this is E3-M1. This pinky is blocking this hallway. Unlike in M2, we can reliably just like juke him, pretty much. So there's a weird AI bug where if you step back as the pinky's trying to bite you, sometimes he'll just start running away because his AI gets confused as to where you're at. I don't know exactly how it works, but it is quite funny. This room is a clown car, and there's 3 imps in it because they just had to one-up themselves after last episode. So we try and lure all the imps out before heading out. This is Slough of Despair. It's not that bad. We're going to be running over here, activating this line def to make that wall fall down, grabbing this blue key, swerving this cacodemon over here, and we're going to be going directly between all of these lost souls. There's like, I don't know, 8 or 10 of them in there, and we're at the end of the level. We're going to be heading this way. This is Pandemonium, or Pandemonia, I don't remember what the level name is actually, I wasn't looking. Grab this blue key. There's technically a fast route here if you're extremely fast, but it's not worth going for, so we're just not going to do it. Remember how I said enemies are infinitely vertically tall? Yeah, that cliff I just walked off of, sometimes the imps are standing in front of it, and you just can't do anything about that. You just get body blocked, and they start hitting you. And you just have to back up and try again. It's great. That being said, we're coming up on the end of level 3 here. This is the BFG, by the way, if you don't recognize it. It's a hit scan weapon that hits every single enemy on the screen for an insane amount of damage based on how close you are to them. We're going to be doing map 4 here. This is not a terribly difficult map, although it does have one of the few tricks that we're going to be doing in the run. I tried to shoot a pinky that was in that corridor and missed, so that's okay. We're just going to deal with that. Alright, we're here. We need to go across this gap, across here, perfect. Shoot here to lure everything over here. We're going to be attempting to do something similar to the out of bounds that we did. Give me the shotgun, buddy. I was gonna try and do this without doing the, or with all the enemies here. However, it's a little risky, so I'm just not gonna do that. There we go. Something similar to the out of bounds on E2-M6 happens there, where if you're going fast enough, the game thinks that you've clipped through the wall for a long enough time period that it actually gives you the yellow skull key that's sitting on the opposite side of that wall. So we just don't have to do half the level. And now we head out here, open this door, and that's the end of the level. House of Pain is not too bad. Unholy Cathedral. This level's a little confusing because there's a bunch of teleporters. We're going to head in here, go left, go through this flashing teleporter, head out here, shoot this to wake up the pinkies, go back through the teleporter, go right. My brain's fried, so I forgot which direction I was going there. We're going to go through here. There's some crushers here. They won't kill you. They're fast crushers, but you do want to try to avoid them. We're going to hit this switch from over here, grab the blue skull key, which gets lowered on the pedestal there, wait for this fast crusher, walk through here, activates teleporter. We're going to go left, and we're going to go through this blue skull key door and into the end of the level. Very easy. Mount Erebus. This level is a little confusing because it gets easier on lower difficulties and not just because of the enemies. They just put the blue skull key outside of this area, whereas on higher difficulties, I believe it's inside of that door that I just, like it's inside of that area that I just walked past. That's the entirety of Mount Erebus. It's just a walking simulator. All right. This is M7. It is a bit long, and there's a little bit going on here. We're going to be doing the last major trick of the run, which is basically just doing some quick jumps. I described jumps earlier, but in case you missed it, jumps are basically... What am I doing? Going the wrong way. Can't talk and drive at the same time, folks. But M7, basically, we're going to be doing a couple jumps here. These jumps are not hard. However, in case you missed me describing what jumps actually are earlier, jumps are basically when you're moving so fast that the game thinks that as you're going over a gap, you're actually high enough up that the game thinks that you can just step up onto the ledge that you shouldn't be stepping up on. All right. We're going to get out of this maze. We're going to go back here. This is where we got the blue skull key. We're going to go out to the main map, and now all we've got to do is grab the yellow skull key and go to the exit. This is where those jumps start to happen. I don't know how I messed that one up. I'm blaming it on this guy. Go away. That is the easiest of the jumps, and I'm messing it up multiple times. I have no excuse. This is going horribly. Okay, you can go through there. That's fine. Wow, okay. I'm just not able to get these jumps today. So we're going to be using SR50 across this gap, which should work, you know, if I'm good at Doom, which I'm not apparently. That's okay, though. We're going to move back out here over to this door, grab this health because we got beat up pretty bad. We've got this jump here, which I'll probably also flub. Nope, that one works fine. So we've got the yellow skull key. We've hit this switch. This is going to open up a bridge, which we now need to go back through that other teleporter that we just went through. And that will take us to the end of the level, right? We're going to skip doing the actual way to get to this bridge and just try and jump our way across the gap. Because we love jumping in this game, despite there not being a jump button. That's the end of the level. So that's the hardest part out of the way. Now we've got the boss. The boss is laughable. Best way I can put it. So we're going to just shoot with the BFG again, and he's dead. We did it, guys. And that is Doom Episode 3 out of the way. All right, so that is Doom Episode 1 through 3. I don't have timers. I don't care. Somebody else can time this if they want. It's something less than a half hour, which was my goal, so I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.